Yeah. So it's part 2 of the psychology of creativity. You know, we done broke that down in the previous video. That was the part 1. You know, because these videos, they're too long for me to, you know, react to the whole thing in one sitting and then give you that reaction, because I know you probably, yeah, you might not go through the whole thing, right? I mean, you don't know me, you know what I'm saying? I don't know you. I would like to know you. You know what I'm saying? So our rapport is not strong enough for you to go through a whole hour video, right? So I'm definitely gonna chop that up. So this right here is part 2, right? Breaking down the psychology behind creativity. Let's do it.
Cause this mind is straight chatter, but I can barely say something. Feel like shit don't matter, so beware the fun cutting. It's volumes of demise. I hear the sound buzzing. So when she said she wanna die, and he sees she ain't bluffing, so he held her to the skies. Cries, sour momentum, passive with goodbyes. I'd rather you tell him, but now the truth is I've digressed from all the feelings. So
Alright. Part 2, dog. Part 2, dog. Part 2, dog, of psychology of creativity. And I know even the part 1 was like mad long as fuck, bro. So like, if you made it through that one, yo, you deserve this right here. I'm not gonna lie. Damn, like, wait. I be yapping a lot today. I don't know, like when I have a whole lot of energy because I'm straight off a nap, right? When I got a whole lot of energy, I be yapping a lot. If you're uncomfortable with that, I'm yet to see a comment that says, yo bro, you yap a lot, bro, you better stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I don't like that shit.
I don't like that shit for sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
You know what I'm saying? So if you make it clear, like, yo, dog, I don't like that shit, like, stop that shit, quit that shit. And you know what I'm saying? We'll cut that off. You know what I mean? But yeah, part 2 with it, psychology of creativity, eternalized. Let's do it.
Psychology of the artist. While the artist's psychology matters, the work of art exists in its own right as an autonomous complex, and cannot be dismissed as just...
First point in me as we kick it off, right? That fact, like, it reminds me of that whole saying, yo, once you release even your music, this is from an artist, once you release your music, it's not yours anymore. It's you know, it belongs to the public. It belongs to the public. You feel what I'm saying? So, and they'll criticize it, scrutinize it, you know, as they should, because it's theirs now.
Just a personal association. At times, we must even defend the seriousness of the visionary experience against the artist's personal resistance to it. Artists who have fallen out of fashion are often rediscovered when our consciousness has evolved enough to understand them in a new way. Their meaning was always in the work, hidden in symbols, but only a renewal of the spirit of the age allows us to perceive it. Fresh eyes are needed, because the old ones could see only what they were used to seeing. In The Way of the Dream, Jungian analyst Marie-Louise von Franz recounts the case of one of her patients, a painter specialized in highly accurate and realistic portrait paintings, and who strongly rejected what he called modern art, which he saw as destructive and senseless. Night after night, he dreamt that he had to abandon his habitual style and begin painting inner abstract realities. Whereas he had always worked in dark colors, the dreams insisted that he paint in bright ones. At the same time, he had, among others, one very disagreeable physical symptom. He was impotent. But as soon as he began to obey the dreams, his physical symptoms, including his impotence, disappeared. He was cured by completely changing his artistic style.
What are dreams?
He did not have to change his vocation, he only had to change his style. People who wish to start a creative endeavor often encounter an inner critic that insists that they are not good enough or that they will never improve. This voice can be paralyzing.
And these days it's even exacerbated by the fact that there's like online communities that could tell you these things. Oh shit. Bro, you literally don't need your own mental to tell you that you ain't shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have like online communities. It's tougher these days. right? It's tougher these days. That's a crazy realization.
leading many to give up before they even start, or to live vicariously through the creations of others. As a result, one may spend years, sometimes a lifetime, haunted by self-doubt.
Yeah.
This inner critic is a manifestation of the shadow, containing one's repressed aspects. Rather than escaping from its criticism, one must listen to it and acknowledge it.
Legit.
What we resist persists. What we embrace transforms. The act of creation is not about making something completely new out of nothing,
What is it about?
but the act of setting free and expressing the potential that already exists within us. By taking what inspires us and shaping it in our own way,
Yeah.
filling it with our personal experiences,
Yeah.
our latent potential is
Making it unique, basically.
brought into actuality,
Yep.
which leads to the formation of our own myth. What is your myth? It is your role on the world stage. Through it, nature expresses herself in you, and as your consciousness grows, it contributes to the evolution of human consciousness, of nature, and of God. Therefore, one should follow the path that nature has.
Yo. Okay, so creating your own myth, right? That contributes to the whole energy and nature of God. But now, let me comment on about, the people that whose myths are just like degenerate, bro. Like, as in, those that end up justifying psychopathic or tendencies, right? Psychopathic tendencies. They become serial deleters, right? Serial killers of society, like within society. Like, what about those kind of people? And like, even me bringing up the example of those kind of people, that's an extreme case. People that just like manipulate humanity and society because of the myths that they created for their own worldview. You know what I'm saying? Is that even the work of God then? Oh, because now, if every human being's, myth, or like their creative and, esoteric reality and shit like that they paint in their own head, if all of that is contributing to like what the entirety of nature is, what God is, are those degenerate, like, psychosis, is that kind of degenerate psychosis part of the art of God too?
Carved. Another obstacle in creative work lies in creating merely to please others,
Yeah.
or to meet aesthetic expectations,
Aesthetic
without the
expectation.
work having any personal meaning. This is pseudo-creativity. It is a game in which the persona or social mask is being mistaken for the true self. Without engaging with one's personal life, there can be no authentic encounter with reality, leading to neurosis. Jung writes, "Neurosis does not produce art. It is uncreative and inimical to life. It is failure and bungling. But the moderns mistake morbidity for creative birth, part of the general lunacy of our time. Those who rely on their creativity to earn a living face a harsh reality. They often have to set aside what is personally meaningful in favor of work that is less fulfilling, but popular and socially approved."
Oh my God, bro! Like, I feel like you just touched on a sensitive subject matter, especially when we getting into 2026 and people releasing their art and things like that. Like, it's always now it's nothing but a monetary kind of incentive that's expected from people who create their art. Like, they create off of, I need to eat off of this, and that's like their starting point of creating things. You know what I'm saying? According to Young, bro, face a harsh reality out here when we going like that. But like, this has been evident, like even down to how corporates, big giant corporates, are taking advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Well, not advantage of that, but they contribute in people, living this way. When we're talking about people that release music and the streaming platforms. And you know what I'm saying? Like, people make it about that financial incentive when it doesn't even pay nobody nothing. Bang! Pays like freaking peanuts, bro. But like, need to run these views up, these listens, these plays. I need to run all that up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And now the starting point of you creating that music in the first place, creating that art in the first place, is it gonna give me the, you know, maximum capital satisfaction? You know what I'm saying?
At times, they have no choice but to sacrifice their own desires, simply to make a living and survive.
Yep.
Moreover, unpredictable and prolonged uncertainty leads to despair. At times, one feels abandoned by the muses and unable to work. Society adds to the burden, often judging those who do not earn a living in conventional ways as lazy or worthless.
Yeah.
Over time, this pressure leads to isolation.
But it's crazy the fact that, you know, these things were written by Carl Jung, like somebody who was observant of these aspects of life back in the freaking day, bro. Like back in the back of the day. You know, there's back in the day, and there's the back of that day. There's the back of that back in the day. Damn, he saw this shit like back from there. And right now, people, you know what I'm saying, it's more of a reality now than ever, right?
And a decline in mental health work does not come from the artist, but from the unseen forces that inspire it. The task of the creative individual is to awaken and give shape to what is already present in silence. Chinese writer Lu Ji writes, "We poets struggle with non-being to force it to yield being. We knock upon silence for an answering music." The being which the poem is to contain derives from non-being, not from the poet. And the music it is to own comes not from us who make the poem, but from the silence, comes in answer to our knock. The poet labors to struggle with the meaninglessness and silence of the world until he can force it to mean, until he can make the silence answer and the non-being be. Creative people are distinguished by their ability to live with anxiety, even though a high price may be paid in terms of insecurity, sensitivity, and vulnerability.
That's why I can never look down on people that like prefer their silence, bro. Prefer their, you know what I'm saying, their own space, their own environment, dog. You know what I'm saying, like above, you know, and I feel like the constructive, you know, the constructive version of that silence that end up, you know, having you hear what you need to hear to yield to the poetry of nature or what, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to be fake deep, right? But yo, the silence that Eternalized is breaking down right here, I feel like it's the kind of silence where you can't derive a whole lot of joy out of that. That's why you get like these introverts, you know what I'm saying? Lately, the term introverts, I don't like it no more. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like
that shit for sure, bro.
It has,
I don't like that shit.
It has like this negative notion to it, right? Connotation to it, right? But I'm talking just about people who prefer, you know, time to themselves, being to their own selves, and, you know, having none of these distractions when they got their time, the time to themselves. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even mean just being in a dark room and there's no music, no lights, and then you're just there like rocking back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Rocking back and forth. I don't know, doing what, you know, whatever. But like it just that silence where it's just you. You know what I'm saying? It's what you get onto. It may be habits, it may be routines that you get onto. It may be just like gymming by yourself, exercising by yourself, you know, I don't know, cleaning up by yourself. You know what I'm saying? It may have activity within it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe zoning out, listening to the content that you want to listen to, you know, and the kind of content that you believe grows you. But that's the point of that exercise right there. It's for that growth. How that ends up inspiring you to be creative. You know what I'm saying? Having the kind of creativity that will have you live in the reality that you want. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the importance for, you know, for that silence. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like, yo, no, he's sick in the brain, he doesn't want to socialize, like he's like antisocial. Like, okay, I guess then antisocialism is necessary then, right?
For the gift of creative
to a certain degree.
They do not run away from non-being. but by encountering and wrestling with it, force it to produce being. They pursue meaninglessness until they can force it to mean. The true artist puts something of his own personal life experience onto the page, whether good or bad, something that has moved him and carries meaning. This is authentic creativity. The unconscious does not care as much as what we come up with aesthetically, as our intention behind what we do. What the unconscious appreciates is our attempt to bring its contents into the light of consciousness. Art is not just about attaining unrealistic aesthetic perfection. There is beauty in imperfection. In Japanese culture, wabi-sabi sees imperfection as a form of art, a kind of flawed beauty, recognizing that nothing is perfect. This is wholeness, an acceptance of the full spectrum of the human condition.
Okay, cool.
Creative people are archetypal wanderers, navigating through the unconscious to bring its content into consciousness. At times they may follow this process without difficulty, but eventually they encounter creative blocks, periods when new ideas or work seems impossible. These blocks can arise from overthinking, perfectionism, self-doubt, fear of failure, burnout, or pressure from deadlines and expectations. Just as land must lie fallow to become fertile again, so too must we pass through a period of rest and barrenness. We are so accustomed to doing that we have forgotten the art of simply being.
Shit. Yeah, I feel like you. Why you have to call me out like that for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's hard not to do nothing. It's hard not to do nothing, especially when you don't got nothing. I feel like you doing something is like, you know, you make your survival make sense. It's like it's for the sake of your survival and da. Okay, this is for me, right? Sake of like me surviving, especially when you don't got nothing, bro. It makes sense when you got a whole bunch of leverage to what you've built, right? To a point where it's like, okay, we can spend another couple years just like brainstorming, figuring some shit out, or not even figuring some shit out, but just like being in a state of just like rest from a previous phase of having went crazy, toiling, right? Working, putting that work in, capital maxing, right? Capital maxing, work maxing. You know what I'm saying? So it only makes sense when you got a whole bunch of I don't even want to make it about material, but like a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of detail within your life where you can be like, yo, I could rest on this for now and not do intensive intensive shit that's gonna have me burn more energy than what I used to burn, right?
Not one care in mind all year. I find enough joy every day in my hut, and after a meal and a pot of strong tea, I sit on a rock by a pond and count fish. Quiet, untroubled days, nothing to do or change.
Crazy.
With 36,000
and that's crazy to know that that's crazy. Oh shit.
Days, why not spend a few staying still?
Yeah.
Time makes us uneasy, for we regard it as our enemy in our insatiable striving for progress, fearing the changes it brings and the death that awaits us all. So we find ways to kill time. But if we distract ourselves every time we feel even slightly bored, we make it harder to find meaning and stunt our creativity. It often happens that during idle moments, ideas simply come to us.
Yeah.
We do not have
That's
ideas. Right. Ideas have us. Inspiration can come in a sudden flash.
What you mean, buddy?
Completely absorbing us. This state of being carried away describes both the creative person and someone fully engaged in play. We say a thought pops up, an idea comes out of the blue, or it suddenly hit me. All describe the same thing, ideas rising from the unconscious into awareness.
Yeah.
When the creative spirit is absent, yet the desire to create remains, the artist may become deeply frustrated, blame himself, and sink into despair, sometimes unable to create for weeks, months, or even years.
Creative block.
But creativity must grow at its own pace to force the ego's desires upon a natural process.
Oh shit, I feel like, okay, cool. That's where it might make sense, right? That's where it actually might make sense for like even people like me to, you know, let let your boredom have its course, bro. Like be bored. Allow yourself to be bored. Like, but as I say, it's hard for me to be bored. But I feel like look at it from a point where, you know, your state of rest or your state of not doing anything, your state of just like not engaging in whatever routine, whatever habit, whatever, you know what I'm saying, intensively so, to a point where it takes you away from, you know, what the boredom can do for you. You know what I'm saying, in terms of new idea generation. You know what I'm saying, like being creative even beyond what you already are. Like it sucks away all the room for that to happen when you want to constantly occupy yourself, constantly, you know what I'm saying, keep doing stuff, constantly this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? So yo, the importance of just like being in your rest, bro, not doing nothing.
It's like planting a seed and watching it obsessively, whispering, grow, grow, grow,
yeah,
only to become frustrated when it does not.
Damn.
Great things take time to mature.
They do.
Creativity demands both patience and passion,
Yep.
which share the same etymological root, pati, meaning to endure, to suffer, or to undergo. The creative spirit is far more likely to respond when we prepare for it, rather than blaming ourselves and daydreaming about endless could have, would have, should have scenarios. Such behavior acts as a defense mechanism. It is tempting because it relieves us of responsibility, projecting it onto some imagined other, who, we believe for reasons unknown, refuses to help us. What we fail to realize is that this other is unable to help precisely because we do not allow it to express itself. In this way, we escape from the growing anxiety that comes from taking responsibility.
Yeah, and that's because, you know, a whole lot of people have taken this other and demonized it, alienated it, you know, made this other that like comes from the silence of you, you know, being bored, so to speak, just being by yourself and not doing anything. You know, a whole lot of people have taken that version of themselves and being like, yo, that's bad. I cannot let that one right there be themselves. I cannot have them have their way. Cannot express itself.
For our own lives. Yet,
Right.
ultimately, it is we who must decide to bring our creative life into being. Rollo May writes, but let it be said immediately that unconscious insights or answers to problems that come in reverie do not come hit or miss. They may indeed occur at times of relaxation or
Yeah.
in fantasy, or at other times when we alternate play with work.
Yeah.
But what is entirely clear is that they pertain to those areas in which the person consciously has worked laboriously and with dedication. We cannot will to have insights. We cannot will creativity. But we can will to give ourselves to the encounter with intensity of dedication and commitment.